digitized live in Cape Coral, Florida, in Studio 1B, across from our World War II collections and within a stone's throw of the toilet. Here he is, the driver of the El Camino, the dreamer of the El Camino, a driver of an old van with no AC, the man of the hour, coming to radio waves near you tomorrow. Here he is, your friend, my pain in the ass, Dave the Waterman.
All right, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
Brother.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right off.
Hey, look, I wasn't even close to the mic that time. Wasn't riding it nothing. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Busy, man. This time of year is just been slamming, man. I have gotten a lot of surprises over the past 2 weeks. Slammed at both jobs, lots of work going on, man. So all I can say is I've been very busy, man, and I'm very blessed with everything that's been happening. So how about you yourself, man? Today was your big last
Well,
day.
I don't want to get into that yet.
Okay.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your big things.
Okay, sure.
We do have listeners who are outside of the state of Florida.
Absolutely.
Who don't listen to K Rock and things.
Absolutely.
So we know exactly what we're talking about. So let's start there.
Okay, well, last Friday, during the Stan Haney Show, I got kind of ambushed in a way with the idea of doing my own Saturday show. Now, mind you, I kind of, yes, I have been in Zito's ear. Come on, man, let me try, let me give it a shot. Man about it. I'm not gonna throw my keys down and walk out or nothing like that, And I was shocked, literally shocked. That's why that video, you see my head hitting the table, because I was like,
you were whining.
Well, no, man, it's not that I was whining. I was literally shocked, man. I had materialistic wise material. So once you get back behind that board and get behind the computer, it started to all kind of like, the memories are like boom,
Muscle memory.
Yeah, they're coming back to you, and it's like, okay, here we go. Let's do this. Let's give it what we got, Dave. Come on, Water, got this, man. You got this. This is cakework for you. You got so much going on. You had so much happen. Just do it, man. Just get it done. And that's the idea I went into on the first show. Now, you know, I did an air check. You know, I had a big meeting yesterday with Zito, and I did the air checks and went over the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so good, the okay, the you know, that wasn't too bad, but we can emphasize this. Right. Yeah, I'm used to that one. But all in all, it was very informative. There's no doubt. And so, hey, here I am getting ready to do, you know, episode number 2, you know, show number 2.
Which is tomorrow night.
Which is tomorrow night, Saturday night, 8 to midnight, Waterman's World, 96 K-Rock, 96.1 on your dial if you don't know. And, you know, get back to man. So here I am, brother. Water's midnight. One thing people don't understand about me is I have risen to the, you know, we'll say it in a way. I've risen to the top. I've been there. I made good money to the point to where I've had management go, why are we paying that guy so much?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he buy? Good day, you know? And maybe it was my attitude and charisma and the way I talk to people and management. Now, when all that happened, you know, I ruined it all.
Thanks, Ronald. Not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
This whole time you're trying to spill your beans, your heart, put everything out there. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be a good co-host and listening, but as the tech guy,
Yeah.
we're trying to Facebook live stream.
Yes, we are.
And
yeah.
I'm talking to our fans who are listening,
Oh, right
and they're
on.
saying, hey, dude, the sound sucks. Fix it.
Really?
So I'm over here.
I was wondering what was going on there.
Well, because we only have so many quarter-inch adapters because we're cheap and we're poor.
Yeah, we are, aren't we, buddy?
And so the quarter-inch adapter off of yours wasn't working well. Long story short, my hypothesis, my goal of running the camera off of the headphone jack, it was producing ass.
Yeah.
But through the help of our fans and our viewers, I was able to basically go from jack to jack on the soundboard until they said, stop! Don't
Right there.
touch it.
That's
it's perfect.
Beautiful,
so now
man.
I can concentrate on the show. We can get to it.
Let's do it, man. So, you know, that's the gist of it all, you know. I gathered up my ashes. You know, I went out to the mountains and...
You emptied your ashtray?
Yeah. I emptied my ashtray, and it was full. But, you know, I split up from a girlfriend that I was with for almost 14 years. That crashed and burned, especially when I walked in and saw one of my best friends of over 20 years sitting on my couch where I used to always sit, which really...
In your spot? You like Sheldon on Big Bang Theory?
Damn right, man.
Get all upset that they're in your spot?
That was my spot. I always sat there, and to see somebody like that. But luckily, I had a good buddy of mine. He used to play for Ohio State. He actually got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he tore an Achilles, and that kind of ruined his career there, so he became a bouncer. So I had him with me, not knowing that this guy was there. He was there for, you know, because the police only gave me 15 minutes to gather everything I could get. So I got, you know, my skateboard, guitar, amps, and clothes, and obviously important papers, birth certificate, and all that stuff, because...
Rolling papers?
You're damn right. You can't... You got to have them wraps, bro. And so, you know, 15 minutes is not that much time, and especially when you've got some psychotic woman that has woken me up and shot, you know, 9mm off right next to my ears to wake me up. I mean, that stuff.
Did it work?
Oh, hell yeah, I woke up getting tapped on the head.
But did you wake up? Did you wake up enough to leave the bitch? I mean, you got a crazy bitch pulling a 9 on you.
You know what? I was dumb enough to hang around, man, you know, but I was living at the beach, bro, and I was doing some activities that probably weren't conducive to what people would really consider work. And I lived a couple blocks from the beach, so all I cared about was getting up, get in the beach cruiser, head over to the beach, do some surfing.
Fine day.
You know.
Good luck with the casual sex.
Yeah.
I mean it. No, because you won't get it.
Yeah. Enjoy myself a little bit. So the whole story as it goes, though, is I had invited this gentleman to come stay at my house from California. And I also lived in Atlanta briefly for a bit.
Where the players play.
And gentleman number one from California had known my family, so we took a trip from Jacksonville, Neptune Beach, down here to Fort Myers. Lo and behold, little do I know, and what a bitch she was, because little do I know, not only was she starting something with guy number one from California, she was already banging guy number two from Atlanta. And I'm on my way back going, hey, you know, we're going on I-4 through Orlando. We'll be there in a few hours, you know. Oh, I just got to tell you, just out of the blue, your friend from Atlanta just showed up. And I was like, what? You know, because I thought it was just going to be me.
Is this the underground hip-hop artist?
No, not him. No. And and so that's funny. That's a whole nother story there, huh? But so anyways, so she says, yeah, he's here. And I said, what? I said, when did he show up? Oh, he's been here for like 3 days. And I was like, and once again, didn't think much about it until I get back and I get home that night. We're having some beers and I look over and she's literally giving guy number 1 from
How to do
a lap dance on my couch. And I'm looking and I'm going, something is very off.
Our ghetto studio's falling apart here, by the way.
I hear a little bit of, but it's okay. We'll get it done. So after all the getting woken up with, like little knives and having, she was into that Wicca stuff, Wiccan stuff. So I'd wake up and find little like stacks of coins for some reason, quarters that had to
That's for the laundromat, Dave.
Yeah, right. Well, they're underneath the bed and it's supposed to bring success and fortune or whatever. I don't know.
How'd that work out?
Well, not good because, the police were on to me. So anyways, I would find dolls. I would find all this.
I got to be honest with you. I'm completely lost in what in the hell you're talking about.
I'm talking about my girl.
I know, but we went from you getting a live show on 96 K back to shit that happened 14 years ago.
I don't know why.
Your continuity sucks.
No, it doesn't, man. It's just I'm tired, man, and that's just kind of the way it went. But anyway, so yes, Waterman's World, 8 to midnight on K-Rock, man. I'm stoked, and it's been a long road. This is where I was going. The point being was I went to the top, I crashed, the ashes were scattered everywhere. I thought I had no hope left. I went to the mountains and I spent time out there and I said, you know what? I'm going to get it together because I had no refrigerator. I had no running.
You're on the scenic route again.
Yeah. No, but I'm just letting you know what happened. I had no refrigerator, no running water, just kind of giving you an idea.
I know, but listeners, as a podcast, has heard this story 16 times.
Oh, yeah, they have. You're true. That's true. So anyway, so I went back. So when I got back here into town, I took hat in hand and I came and saw you guys one day just to say hello.
Walking in the studio looking like a white Easy-E.
Yeah, my hair was long and yeah, I did have the white Easy-E. And then, slowly kind of just showing up and talking and all that sort of stuff. And, 2 of the best guys I know that have been there through thick and thin and have seen a lot, Stan and Haney, kind of, I guess they might have had a talk and said, okay, maybe we'll let this guy, come back because
driving me nuts.
He does have some stuff. Yeah, it's
your shitty adapter you gave me, but
is it really?
We'll make do because the people on the live stream can see us and hear us. So
What's up, everybody? Yeah, we're on Facebook Live tonight, man.
Yeah, we're trying new things here.
I love it, man. I love it. So that's kind of how it is. And so now once again, here I am, given another opportunity to make this work, and this time I refuse to fail. It's not going to happen, and I'm going to work and bust my ass to make this work, man, because not many people get the opportunity like I have to make a comeback. And it's going to make for one hell of a story a year from now when everybody goes, my God, you know what? The guy did it. And here he is, and he's still going. And I'm going to carry it on, man. I'm going to keep it going. Going to keep it going, man. So that's that. Waterman's World, 8 to midnight on K-Rock. That's it, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. I've got lots more to come, everybody. So just, stay tuned. Stay tuned, and please tune in. Give me a call tomorrow night as well. I want to hear some good stories.
Or give us a call tonight.
Yo, that's true.
300-2926. But let's go ahead.
Hey, no, it's 727-300-2926,
yeah,
by the way.
But let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So today, let me rewind a little bit since
Sure.
we took the scenic route with the.
Yeah, I know, man.
Back in 03-ish, my father and I, we moved down here from California, and our
Yep.
whole intent this whole entire time was to start our own business because we were tired of working for the man.
Mm-hmm.
Which that kind of, we started out a business revolved around what my father used to do for a living. But we were both greatly disappointed on how little I was making in the computer field down here after spending all the money to go to school to get certified and all that crap.
Wow.
And so due to some reorganizations, we decided to go into the computer industry. And so we opened the doors of Act Computers back in 2004. And we're going gangbusters. And as everybody knows, in 2008, the economy went through the floor. The housing bubble
burst.
popped.
Yep.
We were moving drywall customers from their offices back working out their garages. I mean,
Wow.
everybody took a hit. And so there was periods of time during when the bubble crashed, I was going 2 or 3 weeks without a paycheck. Because when you own your own business, you can work your ass off, but if there's no money coming in, there's no money to pay.
If the clients aren't sitting in there, yeah.
And so, you know, we scraped, we scrabbled, and we made it through. And then about 5.5 years ago, a situation arose where I needed to try to get some more consistent income on top of my income from Act Computers.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it just so happened to be, I had been doing the website and the Facebook page for Stan Haney for 3 years, just behind the scenes off the clock.
Prior to you being in the
before
studio.
ever being in the studio or hired or anything.
I did not know that.
Yes. Basically, I called in one day. Stan was bitching about his computer. I said,
Right.
hey, I can fix it. Not only can I fix it, I can do it without coming to your house. Now, when you're somebody who's a local celebrity, someone who's been in the radio for 20 years,
Exactly.
the last thing you want is a fan
Mm-hmm.
calling you up saying, hey, let me come to your house.
Yeah, that's a little, that's a little odd. Yeah.
So when I called him and said, hey, I can fix it and I can do it remotely,
Yeah.
he said, okay, give it a shot. So long story short, I fixed his. I worked on Haney's. Then they came to me and asked me if I knew anything about websites, and so I did StanHaney.com. I was doing that for years. Haney's girlfriend got a little overwhelmed with all the nonsense involved with running a Facebook page because you have all the shit talkers and all those assholes.
Always.
And so I took that over as well. And so when Silent Cal put in his notice, they needed a producer,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew that I had been doing all this stuff for them behind the scenes, and they knew that I knew the show. And so who better to come produce your show than somebody who A, knows about computers, knows about websites, Facebook, and knows your show.
Absolutely.
Everything else can be taught. And so that worked out great because at the time I really needed a consistent form of income on top of my other source of income.
Steady cash, man.
So let's fast forward 5.5 years.
Okay.
The economy's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
You can't deny that.
No, not at all.
Drive around this town, you see the economy's coming back.
Look, yeah.
Now, back in 2009, we reconfigured our business so that our primary source, our demographic, we switched from home users to businesses because there's no money in home user computer repair.
No.
Computers are so cheap now that it's cheaper just to buy a replacement.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when it comes to businesses, there's so much money wrapped up in the networking, the configuration, the installation of third-party programs, and all that shit, that it's more cost-effective for the businesses to maintain what they have, and then put together a plan to roll out new equipment. Because even if they go out and buy a brand new computer, they have to pay someone like me multiple hours to come put everything back in the way it was.
Yeah.
And so if you plan ahead, you can do it more cost-effectively. And so around 2009, we stopped really advertising for the residential market.
Mm-hmm.
We still do it when people call. I don't turn it away.
No.
But the money is in commercial.
Absolutely. I can totally see that.
Okay, so for the last 5.5 years, from the hours of 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock, but you got to take in travel time too. So from noon until 6 o'clock, the busiest parts of the day, I was at the radio station or driving to and then at the radio station. And so my father is picking up my slack.
Oh, man.
And so I would try to schedule most of my work in the morning, granted that people would allow me to come that early.
Exactly.
Or I would do it after the show.
Exactly.
So there were days during our busy seasons, I'd get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
I would work until 12:30 if I was pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
Jet down to the studio.
Yep.
Do show prep from 1 until 2.
Yep.
Do the show from 2 until 5:30, 5:45.
Mm-hmm.
Jet. Go home. Sometimes I would eat and then go to the gym and then come home at 9:30 and go to bed and do it all over again. Or during the busy season, I'd come home and eat, grab my daughter or my father, and go back out to work.
And you're back out.
And so some days I was working from 5:30 in the morning till 11:30, 12 at night.
Yeah.
getting home at 1, taking a shower, going to bed, and getting up, doing it all over again.
Unreal, man.
But my family and my business were gracious enough to allow me to do this for 5.5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
But there were some times where some of our customers called us in and said, "Hey, we get the impression that sometimes Don can't be here. He seems to be needs
he's
to
a
get the
great
hell out of
guy
here."
and he's a great computer
And
tech.
clearly, their concerns is me being there fixing the stuff that they're paying me to fix and maintaining.
They need it done.
And so, basically, straight up honesty, we recalibrate. Veterinarians make up 75% of our business.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we had one of them who owned 3 offices who went out of business. And so that was probably about 10% of that 75%. And then with my father being so busy doing other jobs, it was starting to get to the point where I wasn't able to commit to the veterinarian clients or, trying to get them done before or after.
Yeah, they're going, we need this.
And so basically, in order to keep At Computer striving and growing, because we have spent so much time, energy, and effort into this.
Absolutely.
And my parents are getting up there in age. They want to give me the business and work for me instead of me working for them.
Exactly.
Even though technically I've always been kind of co-owner, but let's be honest, for the last 5.5 years, when I'm gone 6 hours a day, I'm an employee.
And you're gone a prime time.
Through the busiest part of the goddamn
the prime
day.
time of the damn day. Yeah, exactly.
And so it came down to this. I had a decision to make. Do I want to continue working for Stan Haney, which I'd love to do?
I know you do.
And risk my dad getting burnt out?
No,
man. And the business that we both invested years, and he invested more money in.
Going to school, the whole works, man.
Building a customer base. And let's be honest, not talking numbers here, I make half than what I do through my business. And so the question is, do I want to continue doing this and risk the family business go under?
Yeah.
Or do I want to step up, do what you got to do? The story is long as time.
Yep, I know.
You got to go home, take care of the family farm. You got to do your thing.
Family's first, man, always.
And so basically the decision made itself. So a month ago I came in and I told Stan, I said, hey, I literally gave him that whole spiel that I just went through, plus some more personal stuff.
That had to have been a tough day.
Not that I'm not going to broadcast, but I said, hey, I can give you 4 weeks.
Wow. That had to have been a tough day for you, man. Because you got passion and love for that show like I do, and,
And Haney and I sat down. We tried to come up with a solution. What's the biggest problem? Well, the biggest problem is I'm anchored there between 1 and 6. And what a lot of people don't realize, there were plenty of days where while I was producing our show,
I've seen you.
I was on a computer logged into someone else's server. I was literally producing a show plus working on computers, configuring emails on my laptop at the same time.
Yes, you were. Many times. And
so he and I toyed around with, if I was able to get up and leave whenever something needed to be done in an emergency and come back, would that be a viable solution? But then I got to think, and I got to talk to my brother, the whole key to this is I'm taking over a business. And so when I'm not physically working, I got to be out there grinding. I got to be out there going to business meetings. I got to get out. And so how can I grind and do all the administrative stuff that needs to be done when I'm unavailable for 6 hours a day? And so,
now
a decision had to be made. Luckily, Haney reached out to Randy and asked if he knew anybody who was good with, producing audio, editing audio, and Randy came back with this Don Cat, and I trained him for 3.5 weeks. He picked it up because over the last 5.5 years, we've had multiple interns in there.
Yeah, we have seen
because the problem is no one was ever able to completely do my job. Now, clearly, they grab anybody to answer phones and fill out price sheets, but that's like 0.1% of what I did there.
Oh, man.
And the level of multitasking I did was through the roof. And so we had a few interns sit in who, I had one of them that was good, David, the guy who worked at the hospital.
Yeah.
But he finished up his internship and he bolted. But anybody else, they're flat. They're like, no way in hell I want to do this.
Right.
But Don came in and he, I told him straight up how things were and he was wanting to do it.
How's it going to go?
And he's kind of like I was, except for he works a night job. So he does. He's doing Stan Haney. Then he goes to the recording studio and produces music all night.
Yes, he does.
And so he's picked it up on it well. I'm not turning my back on the show any way, shape, or form. I'm still going to come in on Fridays. I'm still going to book guests. I'm actually working on one right now.
Stoked.
And it may even get to the opportunity back, like how when we sent you to New World Fit and Fitness.
Right.
How we had to get a listener to be a cameraman.
Right.
Well, if I'm available on that day, I can be the cameraman now.
Right.
Or you and I can go tag team stuff.
That'd be great.
Because there will be, I can make myself available on a Friday afternoon, but to do it 5 days a week,
it's
just,
well, it taxed you, it taxed the business, it taxed Act Computers, it taxed
my automobile,
your automobile, it taxed your dad, picking up the slack.
I set my odometer tonight on the way home just out of curiosity how much gas and miles I'll save a day.
Yeah,
I'm going to save 65 miles a day.
Wow.
On tires, oil, and gas, and time. Now that's 65, not counting my business.
Yeah.
So including my business travel, I was driving about 135 miles a day.
We've talked about that. You were always on the road from point A, point B, constantly going, all over, working.
Sorry, Ronald. I move my hands. That's why I'm in radio.
Yeah, we do.
I move my hands, and ironically enough, if we ever do a live stream, Stan is a very hands-on person. He's very handsy. That's why when I was telling a story today on the radio, Haney mentioned, "Watch your hands. You're going to smack Don in the face."
He's funny. That was pretty funny because you were.
Because I don't know why. It just
well, you're emphasizing things, and at one point when you were doing that, I forgot what we were talking about, man. But I looked at Don's face for a second, bro, and I started laughing, man, because he's kind of like ducking,
like shadow boxing.
Yeah, he's like, he's like old Mike Tyson punch out, man, left and right, man, trying to juke around.
Now, don't worry, this is for medicinal purposes. They say that a beer a day helps your kidney stones, and I've been fighting my kidney stones for the last 6 days.
I can't believe it. It's back?
Yeah.
Did you have to go to the doctor this time? Or
no, I know the pain.
You feel it.
You can feel the pain move as you urinate.
Oh, God.
So it gets lower and lower.
Brutal, man. But you've been doing good, man. You haven't been drinking sodas.
Well, after Hurricane Irma, I got back on the soda.
Oh, that's right.
But I still wasn't at the level I was before. I was still only at 2 a day. But
you were drinking teas and
before Irma, I was pretty much on water and tea. But once again, when you don't have water for 16 days, you can't find bottled water anywhere.
That's true.
I was driving every morning, filling up a 5-gallon jerry can full of tap water off a friend's house. But I had 2 dogs, 4 cats, 3 birds, toilets to flush.
Yeah.
And so it was just, sodas were plentiful.
You're like Jack Hanna, man. With
I was literally standing in my shower. I took a water jug, poked holes in the top of it. I would fill it up with water and then stand and dump it over my head.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one who went through this. All of Southwest Florida was completely effed up.
No, I did too.
And don't get me wrong, people offer you to come over and take a shower, but the problem is you go to someone's house at 7:30 because you want to be respectful for them because they got to get up. You take a shower, you go home. As soon as you sit in your 95-degree house for 4 minutes, you're just fresh and sweat again.
Absolutely. That was a brutal time, man. That storm, because you were out of power like I was.
16.
I was 14. 14 days. And you know what's messed up, man?
Let me just put a fine point on this and we can move on. So, no, I'm not going to turn my back on this, guys. I'm still part of the show. I'll be there on Fridays. Hopefully all of them. If not, if I'm not there, it's because I'm on a gig or an emergency or what have you.
Or maybe me and you were out somewhere.
We're going to continue doing the podcast as long as Dave shows up.
I'll be here.
Now, for our weekly podcast listeners, yes, we didn't have a show last week because, as Dave said, he got thrown into a live show. And then for reasons unbeknownst to me, he was unavailable on Sunday and Monday. But that's besides the point.
That was work. More work, man. Because I'm doing side jobs now as well. I've got a detailing business. I'm buffing boats out, and so.
While we're on the subject of last week's episode, for those of you who are serial listeners, we have Timmy and the boys down in the street.
Oh.
Now, last episode, which was 2 weeks ago, we kept hearing a crazy-ass noise outside the window.
Weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
I thought maybe it was a dog barking, or I thought maybe the dog was out puking outside of this door.
Yeah.
And we literally brought the show to an end to go investigate what the hell the noise was. And when we were outside, we saw someone launching mortars like probably 6 blocks away.
Yeah, man. Huh.
Well, shortly after you left, Cape Coral's finest start rolling down my street.
Oh, beautiful. Top notch.
And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
They parked down in front of Timmy's house.
Oh, have they?
Two
now?
cruisers.
Uh-huh.
And they start walking down this way with their flashlights.
Down towards your place.
Yeah, and I'm standing up in my driveway like, oh, what the hell going on
Yeah,
here?
like, what's up?
And and one of the officers walked up to me and he said, have you had any problems with them?
Really?
I said, we've never had any
Like
physical or property
run-ins,
problems.
yeah.
I said, most of the problems we have with them are more of a code compliance issue. I said, they're going off the off the frame restorations in their driveway.
Right.
Property looks like shit.
Burning
but other
up
than
and
that,
down on four-wheelers.
I said they used to drive. But I said, no, we haven't had any actual problems with them. He's
Yeah.
like, well, did you hear any noises tonight, like fireworks or anything? I
Yeah.
was like, well, we heard something funky, but when we came out, someone was launching mortars.
Yeah, a couple blocks over.
Well, they were having a party there that night, and there's probably 25 cars out there.
I remember coming around the corner. I was like, good God.
And so Cape PD talked to them, and then they left, and then they came back through, but the party didn't end. But I don't know what they were doing, but apparently that noise we were listening to was coming from down at their house.
Really?
Yeah.
What could they have been doing to make that sort of sound, though? I mean, because like you said, when we both went out there, it looked like, it was well, that wasn't pre-4th of July, but it was after 4th of July. Like, people were just lighting off the rest of the stuff they got. They're drinking beers or something a couple blocks over.
So I don't know what the hell it was, but the cops showed up there, and then they came through, I think the next night. They didn't stop. They said they're going to start rolling through, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've ran into that issue over at the old place there. I've got had a lot of riffraff where I was living at, and luckily I'm in a new spot. But I've come to realize that Cape Coral and all the areas, it doesn't matter what street you live on, there's always going to be that guy or that house.
Well, it's not just Cape Coral; it's everywhere.
Well, yeah, true, but there's always going to be, and there's always going to be that house that's got something going on, man. If it's not heavy traffic or
no, Edward, we're raging homos.
Or yeah,
Edward asked if either one of us date women. I said no.
No, hell no, man, nah.
I'm all about the dudes.
Yeah, bruh, man, love the dudes.
Nothing like a tight pair of Levi's on a fella.
Man, I'm telling you, them tight jeans and some Converse.
Now, I know your cell phone sucks, and I know you don't have signal unless you're within Wi-Fi,
yeah,
so this isn't going to apply to you.
It's going to get corrected.
But to the rest of the world, I wonder if anybody has this issue. I use voice to text a lot, especially when I'm driving, because that's what you're supposed to do.
I've gotten quite a few from you.
But what happens is if you're listening to a podcast or talk radio, or the radio's on, when you hit the microphone to start talking,
I know.
As you're relaying your message and you send it, if you don't proofread it, the first 5 words or whatever's being said on the radio, and so people text me back like, what in the hell are you effing talking about?
Exactly.
And so now it kind of defeats the purpose of voice to text, because now you're pulling up the keypad, you're driving down the street, you're hitting the back arrow, because if you're listening to an uncensored podcast, the last thing you need is dick and balls going out over your your voice to text.
Exactly, man.
It's like, I thought it was voice recognition. I mean,
I thought it was supposed to be when you first fire it up and you gotta sync your voice with the phone. It doesn't, like, everything else is muted out. I did not know that, because I've received a few from you where it's like, huh?
Well, that's because whatever I'm listening to ends up in the goddamn text message.
It's like, getting some of that banjo, like metals, not banjo metal, but I forget.
Dead South?
Who is it?
The Dead South?
Yeah, man. That is one bitchin' band, dude. I dig those guys.
They're from Saskatchewan?
Is that where they're from?
Yeah.
Man, those guys are wild, man. Those guys are wild, man.
It's no El Camino, but it's good shit.
Hell no. It's no El Camino, brother. This, once again, that was a song. That song was originally written by my band, Funkin' Rip the Whales. I was my buddy Mike Funkin' Rips and Dave the Whales. And Funkin' Rip the Whales, man, a lot of people didn't like it because they thought I was all about murdering and killing the whales and stuff like that, man. It's pretty funny.
Now-
I laughed at it, but anyways.
When you showed up tonight,
Yeah, bub.
you were very pissed off about the
Yes.
drivers of Southwest
Yes.
Florida, and you said you
What?
wanted to save it for the air.
Man, dude, I don't know what was going on tonight, but I'm leaving, I'm leaving Broadcast House down in Estero, and I'm on my way here, and it happened right there, the first, from what I had noticed. The sun's going down. It's that beautiful Florida sunset tonight, by the way. And the sun's going, it's way down, so you just got that nice glow in the sky. Now, you're looking around, everybody's got their headlights on. There's a guy, no headlights. Almost, you can still see his car because the sun's out. Now, I'm going down 41. I get to Daniels. What is going on? Now it's getting darker. Another guy.
What time was it?
This was 8, right at around, when did I text you and said I was on my way? Had to have been around 8-ish, somewhere around there. Another guy, no headlights. Here I go. I get to Gladiolus.
8 o'clock.
It's darker, right? It's starting to get a little darker. Once again, there's a guy, even in a white car, bro, in a white car, no headlights on, and it's like you can't see these people, man. So I counted a total of 5 people, and by the time I hit the midpoint, it was really getting dark, and I'm going, what's up, man? These people are in modern cars. I thought they had the automatic where the headlights come on. When it gets dusk and it gets dark, your lights automatically kick on. You know what I'm saying? Or at least you have running lights. Nowadays everybody has running lights, so the lights are pretty much always on, day or night. Man, these people were looking to cause problems, accidents, and that shit pissed me off, man.
Or do you want to know why it was so hectic today?
What's going on?
People don't realize this. Whenever people think about Florida and the shitty traffic, they think snowbirds. And that's part of the problem. But what people tend to forget, especially those who are part of the problem, school. When school lets out for the summer, if you noticed when you're driving in the morning, if you're heading over to Fort Myers, you can get over the Midpoint Bridge in no time. Once school starts back up, you cannot get over the Midpoint Bridge in less than 45 minutes between the hours of 7:45 and 9:45.
It's a disaster.
And part of the problem is, and it's not a bad thing, every bad consequence is based on a good intention, which is school choice.
True.
We've talked about this in the past.
Yes, we have.
As long as your kid can get on the list, you can take them to any goddamn school you want, which means drive their ass across town or put them on 16 buses where they spend an hour and a half on the bus. So what happens is the parents have to drive all over God's green earth to get them to school.
Right.
Today was the first day back for the kids. And so now it's the end of the day.
Right.
Parents are still on their summer schedule, so they got to figure out who's picking up Sally, who's taking,
Timmy
this and that. And so they're running late from work, they're picking up the kids, they don't feel like cooking, so they're going out to get dinner, they're trying to get over here. And so the streets are just a goddamn cluster F.
I'm telling you, man, I was like, there's 5 accidents in my opinion waiting to happen, man. And some of these people were literally like, drafting like in NASCAR behind people, and it just caught my eye. I'm like, these guys don't even have any headlights on. Now I know that's not their buddy in front of them. They're either drafting them because they don't have no working headlights. But then I look and I go, these are up-to-date modern cars, man. They've got that automatic. You can leave it on.
Yeah,
right? It's adjustable.
They could have flipped the switch off for some stupid reason.
But
it could have been raining and they turned the headlights on and then they rolled it back too far.
Today was one of those days, man, where I was like, I see it occasionally, but I'm like, 5 cars, literally, really? 4 cars in a truck. I'm like, literally, really? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You guys are either going to get hit or you're going to hit somebody because you can't see what's going on. It might be a pretty sunset, but Jesus Christ, turn on your headlights, man.
I'll have to pull the video off my dash cam because I saved it. I was merging on from McGregor. Actually, no, Summerlin coming on to Colonial.
Yeah.
and I was in the left lane, and this old biddy was in the right lane in like a Mercury coupe.
Yeah, right.
And she damn near sideswipes me, cuts me off. And then she goes up, and as we merge into 41, she cuts off like 4 or 5 people, all within like a span of 38 seconds. Like, what in the?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like the permanent, I'm in the far left lane, but you know what? I've just immediately made a decision in my mind to cut across traffic over 3 lanes and make a right and go down a road.
Well, who are these
what
assholes?
What the hell is that about, man?
Well, who are these assholes? You're getting ready to hang a right onto a road, right?
Right.
And they're coming at you, and they're going to hang a left.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hypothetically, both of you should be able to make the same maneuver at the same time because you're going to maintain your goddamn mother effing lane.
Yep.
But who are these assholes who decide that instead of getting in the curb lane, I'm just going to go ahead and get in your lane?
Yeah, right. I'm going to go ahead.
Maintain your effing lane.
Yep.
We both can turn at the same time.
Yep.
And then you can either decelerate and I can accelerate and you can get behind me.
Yep. And, you know, a major problem in an intersection with that is the Summerlin Gladiolus turn right there.
That's why they put the flyover in there.
Or no, not Gladiolus, the one before it. What would that be? That's Daniels. That would be the Daniels one. That would be the Daniels one because that's the one that I take in the mornings. And that is it because it goes from the two left turn lanes into a 3-lane road. You know, it's a 6-lane road, but it goes into 3 lanes, and you always have that guy that's on the inside turn that's turning, and where does he end up? He's in the center lane, man. And it's like, come on, bro, you're pushing me over, man.
People are stupid.
It's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. But that just pisses me off because I'm like, you know what? When I grew up and started learning how to drive at 14.
Still never learned how to drive stick shift, though.
Oh, come on, man. I can drive a damn stick shift. I can. I'm telling you, I can.
Never seen it.
But how many cars are stick nowadays, man? You got to buy.
I guess now you don't need it, but the fact that you're 45 and never
drove a goddamn
stick.
Don't even start with that, man, my bro. Come on. I can drive a stick. I've driven plenty of them, man. Plenty of them. 3 on the tree, all that jazz, bruh. Now, listen. Everything is paddle shift now, you know? I mean,
yeah, sports shift's weird because when you drive a standard, not that you would know, you gotta take your foot off the gas as you push in the clutch. But on sports shift, you technically don't have to take your foot off the gas, so it's a little. It takes a while to get used to.
Yeah, you know, the paddle shift is odd, and then you've also got the slapstick shift, you know.
Oh yeah, on the sports cars.
In your car, which is you know, cool, you know, but
what's up, James?
What up, James? My father has one in his car, and you know, it's like I never find myself using it. Occasionally, maybe if I really
you'll just break it, or if you did use it, it would break, and he'd blame it on you.
Well, you know, I get blamed for
I had some
a lot of stuff.
Weird shit happened to me at 7-Eleven today, and this is straight out of a Bad Stoners movie from the 90s. Think Harold Kumar or Half Baked.
Little White Castle.
So I walk into 7-Eleven, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna make me sound like a dick. I'm aware of that.
Who cares?
But
man?
I got to talk about this. So I walk into 7-Eleven, and I have my dark glasses on, and I see a cat. God, this poor son of a bitch, probably 19.
Yeah.
Apparently, at some point in his life, he got into an accident, and he had a skin graft around his eye.
Oh man.
And so I saw that, and then I just looked away because I didn't want to stare, despite the fact that I had sunglasses on.
Yeah.
But that's not the weird point.
Oh.
So he's standing there with this relatively cute girl, and I'm looking at her like, yeah, you know, she stuck around. She stuck by his side. Good for her.
Yep.
And so I'm looking out the floor because growing up with low self-esteem, I've always been a floor looker when I walk. You know, I'm always hunched over staring at the floor.
I've done that. Yeah.
And so I'm looking down, and I look at her foot.
Uh-oh.
Her toe right here only grew in halfway.
Uh-oh.
And so her toenail is where her knuckle is.
Okay.
And a part of me is like, well, you know, they both kind of have something going on.
They got some physical issues.
And that's not the weird shit that happened.
Yeah.
This is gonna make me sound so effing
No,
bad.
go for it, man. I want to hear it.
So they left, and I looked up, and I went to pay for my gas. Now, keep in mind, I just saw a young man who had skin graft on his eye.
Yeah.
His girlfriend had a deformed toe.
Yeah. You think she kicked him?
No, it was a birth defect. Literally, her toenail was right
know.
where the first knuckle was supposed to be.
Oof.
And I looked up.
Oof.
And the store clerk only had one hand.
Oh my God!
Like, what are the effing odds?
Where is this place so I can avoid it, man? Where is?
I'm like, what are the odds?
That is crazy.
That's straight out of a stoner film. Could you imagine, like, in Half Baked or Harold Kumar?
Oh man,
they're tripping balls, right? And they're walking in. They're trying to be cool and to download.
Yeah.
They don't want to stare at the guy, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
And then they see the deformed toe, and then they look up, and there's the clerk with one hand. It's like, what?
The beginning of a college horror story,
It's
man.
like,
you know,
who
they all
makes
get
this
murdered
shit?
by these people.
If that was in a movie, someone said that would never happen. And I was just like, well, that's effing insane.
No, well, you know, speaking of that, you know, that.
Could you imagine if you were drunk or tripping balls?
Oh God, I would have been. I would have lost it.
What the hell?
I would have been like, what the? And the problem is, I would have been the one guy going.
No, you would have pushed it over the edge because you would be there with your effed up nose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So you'd be fourth to the power. So then you'd have the guy with the skin-graft eye, the chick with the effed up toe, the man born with one hand, and you with
the skin-graft nose. Yep. And I am still getting questions about that.
Hey, bro,
did you notice that popped up
nose?
on YouTube the other day? Did you get that
my
notice?
YouTube channel has been blowing up for some reason.
Really?
Somebody found it, which I appreciate you.
Yeah, we love you
guys. But like every day I'm getting like 6 notifications on there. Like, okay. And I try to answer back.
I got a real quick. I got a notification the other day, man. And a guy goes, he just sat there. I think it was during the barbecue sauce challenge, you know. And I was like, 10 ounces of goodness,
Yeah, somebody's pissed because I never posted the video of you eating the hamburgers. I still got to pull that.
Man, that was a sabotage, but that's a whole nother gig. But anyway, so a guy sits there and he posted on the comment section. He says, "Woo, like love it or whatever." And then about 5 minutes later, after he had probably looked at my head, he says, "What's up with your face, man?" and
where do I start?
And I'm like, well, So I told the guy, I wrote back to him and I said, "Look, man, I had skin cancer, man. I've still got it, and I'm battling it, and it's a tough thing, and I'm
sensitive about it. I'm sensitive about it, you assholes.
Well, it's like." I've been out at remotes with you guys at certain events where we're all together, and I would literally have 4, 5, 6 people come up and go, "What's up with your face, man? What's up with your face, water? And what'd you do? Too much crystal meth? What'd you do, man? Like wipe out on your skateboard and just face plant?" I get that sort of stuff, and I'm like, "No, bro, I had cancer, man."
And the graft didn't take.
And the graft didn't take, and I had to get another one, And then that's the reason I grow whiskers out of the tip of my nose, because because they took the skin graft because they wanted to try to match the skin as close to my face as possible. So they cut my ear off, and when they took the skin from behind my ear, it kind of was like a semi left-sided facelift, and the whiskers. Follicles ended up being transplanted to the tip of my nose. So, of course, now I've got to shave the tip of my nose. Otherwise, I could grow a giant dreadlock.
I don't see that happening.
Well, I'm not going to let it happen, bro. I mean, that would look ridiculous. I'd look like what? Like an aardvark or whatever those things are.
Ronald is
a hand-eater.
Via the Facebook live stream, Ronald is he's speaking out on behalf of the whole internet.
Yeah.
And he said, sorry about your face, bro.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey, man, he's trying to be supportive.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Ronald. No, it's true, man. Well, you know what? The thing is we live in a very sun-drenched, powerful state.
Yes, we do.
And being in California all those years, and I grew up under the idea that was never really told about sunblock. Sunblock was not a major issue. You would go out and get roasted. You would go out and just get cooked,
Mm-hmm.
And being in California for 20 some odd years and growing up, starting my youth here in Neptune Beach, Florida, And moving to California, you know, I've been in the sun and at the beach my entire life, and it finally caught up. Well, it caught up once I got caught on fire was the major deal, because from what the doctors told me at Moffitt, at the cancer centers, they said, you know, there's a layer of skin that gets, once it gets burned, your skin and everything regenerates, but there's a pigment or whatever in your skin, a protection level that does not come back. It will not regenerate. And that's where, you know, after I started scuba diving, and the first time I noticed is I was diving the Spiegel Grove down in the Keys, and I'd pop to the surface, and the person I was with, my girlfriend, the one that, you know, would tap me on the head with the 9mm and pull rounds off the side of my head, she looked at me, and I took my mask off because I was so stoked when I hit the surface, man. I was just like, woo, you know, after hitting 100 foot. And she's like, your nose is bleeding. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, what? You know, like, and it was just a little dot, man, like a pimple. And that's all I thought it was. And I spent a long time putting Neosporin on it, trying to cure it, trying to heal it. It would not heal. And I went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 surgeries before they finally got it.
Yeah.
Which was insane. But anyways, you know.
Well, while we're on the topic of vanity and one's appearance.
Yeah.
My brother, who has been on the show a few times, and I think he's listening right now.
Awesome, man.
One of the things he takes great pride in is calling me on my bullshit. And so if anytime I do anything on the internet that comes off douchey or dickish, he says, hey, dumbass, what the hell are you doing?
He's like, what are you posting that
you look
for,
like
bro?
a shithead.
Yeah, come on, man.
And so a while back, well, before I did the Instagram thing, I never really posted photos of my fitness routines or anything on Facebook, but I would check in at the gym every time I went so that I could personally go back on my timeline and see how often I went to the gym. And when I started to have a major weight decrease, when I dropped to roughly about 30 pounds, I posted some gym selfies on Instagram, and my brother promptly sent me a message, hey, douchebag, you've become one of those gym dicks who's posting selfies. Man. And I laughed it off. But what started to happen was, an unknown consequence per se, is I started getting private messages from people.
Really?
Saying, hey, thanks for the motivation. Seeing you checking into the gym every morning, seeing your before and after photos.
Yeah.
Thanks for the, it's really motivated me. And so in a segment that I call One's Man's Douche as Another Man's Motivation,
right?
I'm just going to read just a little bit of this.
Let's hear it, man, because
this is a guy I went to school with.
You're looking good, man.
He's always struggled a little bit with weight problems. So the past year has been rough. I've had major knee problems and I can hardly walk. As I went through the process of going to the doctor and trying to deal with my knees, I found out that I'd become a diabetic.
Oh, man.
And so now he has knee problems. He's borderline diabetic.
Okay.
Long story short, he starts talking about all his diet change and his regimen and how he's now lost 43 pounds.
Good for him, man.
And so I simply commented, hey, man, keep up the good work, kick ass. And he replied back, I'm not going to lie, seeing your before and after photos and your gym check-ins really motivated me.
Yeah.
And so, once again, one man's douche. Yes, my brother calls me a douchebag because I'm – and not just him. Man. Other people do it. I get it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, when people are sending me private messages or even in public saying, hey, your douchey photos are motivating me –
That is bitching,
then
man.
It's like, how douchey is it?
I don't think it's douchey at all, because there's one photo that you had posted a while back, maybe a week or two ago.
And I don't even post those on my Facebook page. The thing I've discovered over the last few years, the Facebook audience is greatly different than the Instagram audience or the Twitter audience.
Yes.
Twitter is a barren wasteland of political bullshit now.
Yes, it is.
You think Facebook is bad when it comes to politics? You've got to go on effing Twitter. It's a goddamn shit show.
Yeah, it's a battle.
I barely ever post anything. I post on Twitter is just a dead nuts carbon copy of what I post on Facebook, because all these people who are losing their jobs over bad jokes, all that shit's going down on Twitter. Very few people are losing their jobs over a Facebook post. It's all the trolls, all the super sensitive pusses out there. They're all on Twitter, and they're destroying it, and that's why. And we've mentioned this in the past. That's why Twitter's membership's falling so goddamn bad.
Yeah.
When you got to hire James Corbin to record commercials to play on Pandora and YouTube, trying to convince people to sign up for Twitter, there's clearly a problem. People are tired of hearing this shit.
Yeah.
And so I don't post a lot of these gym things on Facebook because it's a different audience there too. Like people like to talk a lot of shit on there. And since the whole purpose of Instagram
Which
is
I
photos,
I love Instagram.
that is one, the best place for it. And two, what people don't also realize, the reason, especially when it comes to people who have public persona pages or business pages, the reason you see so many goddamn selfies is because we are not allowed to post photos of effing anything because everything out there has a goddamn copyright on it.
Man. Yeah.
For example, on my private Don Abernathy page, I see a funny meme. I can download it, save it to my computer, and post it.
Right.
Not a problem.
Right.
If I do that on my D-Train page, I can get a cease and desist order saying, "Hey, F-card, that's copywritten.
Yep.
If you don't knock that shit off, we're going to sue your ass."
We're going to come after you.
And so you basically, literally, can only post photos of shit you've taken. And so it's a picture of me or a picture of my steering wheel. Which one do you want to see? And so, what are you breaking? I mean, this is a high-dollar studio here.
Bro, I don't know, man. There's like a marble just
jacking
rolled.
up my director's
marble
chair.
just rolled around and just went cuckoo on the floor, man.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what. There it is. But you're right. You're real quick. I'll pick that up in a second. You're right, though. Instagram, man, I find to be that people are more in. There's a little politicalness there, but it's not.
Well, those
so
are the assholes
much.
who are posting memes, which is not what Instagram's for. Save that shit for Facebook.
It's not so much. Instagram. I've become. People are very inspirational, giving some thumbs up and liking and commenting a little bit more positivity.
Yes.
And uplifting than
Well, that's because we're all aware that we're all vain assholes there.
Right.
I mean, we're not trying to hide the fact that we're all vain.
No. But it's Facebook. I got a guy, an old neighbor. The guy will write a manifesto on Facebook, man. Literally about the government and this and that, and he was a big Bernie Sanders supporter, and he's still upset at the fact that Bernie Sanders is not president. And the guy writes to every single politician, Democratic, in the state of Florida. And it's a trip, man, because that's his gig, man. That's what he does. All day, every day. He's disabled, retired, and it's like, come on, man. It's funny because I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, hey, bro, take a break from it. Come on, let's have a conversation about something, man. Besides, politics all the time, man. But it's cool though. He, that's his thing. He loves doing it, and maybe he is making a difference. I don't know. It's very possible. But, that's his thing. But on Instagram, it is more of I like Instagram. I'm glad to be.
That's because you're not locked out of it yet. Well, you still can't get on goddamn Facebook. Your Twitter's still locked out.
Yeah, well.
But before we get on that road, Ronald here
What's up with
has
Ronald?
been hanging out with us for the last 105 minutes.
Beautiful. Right
and
on,
he's
Ronald.
asked because he's never heard the story. As much as I really don't want to hear it for the 833rd time, if you can give Ronald the cliff notes on how you blew yourself up.
Oh, okay.
He wants to hear that story.
Okay. With the quickness here, this is back in October of 2001. I had just moved here. The only person I knew at the time was Uncle Haney, and that's when I was dating the girl.
This is the Cliff Note version?
Real quick, I was dating a girl. Cliff Note version, I went over to her trash can.
At the marina.
At the marina.
You're talking about Haney and your girlfriend, which has nothing to do with the story. The story is you worked at a marina.
Well, I'm just kind of leading up to, how I got here. So anyways, I go over to
You're working at a marina.
At a marina. I was going to throw that in there. And it had a lid on it, and it had sat in the sun. Now, Ronald, if you're familiar with fuel water separators on boats, because water does get into gas tanks on boats, and this is to prevent motors from getting effed up. And somebody had gone and done a full, complete fuel water separator change on their vessel, and it was a multiple vessels, and they threw them in the trash can, threw the lid on it. It sat in the sun. I had my 3 days off because we would work, 4 10-hour days, 3 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off. And I went in for the shift change, and I walked over, and I had a piece of trash in my hand. I was lifting the lid, talking to the shift change guy, going, all right, is there anything I need to know, before it's all over? And you're out of here. Nope, everything's good to go. And I'm like, cool, bro. And I lifted the lid, and he was standing, about 20 feet away. I lifted the lid and was lighting the smoke, and all the fumes poured out at that time. It was like, just unlock. It just went, and I struck my lighter, and boom.
Just like one of those action movies where the murderer turns on the gas stove and blows out the pilot light, and the whole house is filled with gas. Except for you're outside standing over a trash can.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I'm like as I'm opening the lid, I'm leaning into it, and the whole thing just exploded. And the guy said, the other guy, I believe his name was Sean or something, but he was like, man, those, after it was all said and done, he's like, those flames were like 20 feet in the air. Well, my shirt caught on fire. Well, he runs over, he grabs a hose. Now, once again, here we go. There's a hose sitting in the hot Florida sun, and we all know that residual water that sits in there when you turn that it's blazing hot. So here I am getting hosed down
with your skin hanging off,
with my skin dripping, and I'm like, I'm just, he's putting the fire out. All my eyebrows are gone, my hair's gone, and I'm just going, oh, I was in shock, and I remember I just sat there for just a split second after he hit me with that hot hose. I was like, F this, and I ran across the street, and I jumped into the ice box.
There you go.
And then they stacked bags of ice, and then, after, they came out. Now, the funny part about it all is I was told that it was chicken nuggets that had decomposed that created the fumes that caught me on fire.
How does that work? Chicken nuggets. No, that's somebody's trying to get around a liability lawsuit.
I am not joking you. And I said, I was so pissed, because I remember I was in the back of the ambulance, and the big boss man's coming up, wondering why there's an ambulance there. And, here I am with literally no, I mean, it was like just bone, basically. It was so gnarly, man. I took 7 shots of morphine in the ambulance, another 5 shots of morphine in the hospital, and they wrapped me up like a mummy, literally from my crotch up, and that was bad. What a recovery and long road that was, man.
My daughter's uncle, back when I was right after high school. Yes, we're doing the math. I had my daughter in high school. He was in a feral gas explosion in Grove City.
Oh,
the big tanks, not the little propane you're plugging in your goddamn grill. The big storage tanks at the facility blew up.
Like stuff I use, yeah.
And he was burnt from head to toe.
Oh,
damn near killed him. But he believe it or not, he bounced back. But he is like you. He's not supposed to be in direct sun, but here you are in Florida in direct sun.
There's no way around it, man. I can't get around it, man. And as you can see, the cancer's coming back up on my nose over here. I've got cancer, big quarter, $50 on my shoulder now. I'm riddled with it, and it's only getting worse. And I've got to try to figure out a way to get this fixed. My worry is the fact that it's so bad now in my face. Even when I went to Moffitt umpteen years ago, they said, look, you've got a root cancer, and it's rooting into your cheeks. So I know by now, it's getting bad, man, and I gotta get.
Don't worry, man. The government gives us all free health care. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, huh? Yeah, sure. They take care of you. My ass. But
anyhow, we've been droning on a long time.
Yeah.
my departure from the Stan Haney Show took up a good part of this show today. I did get a few things off my list of shit that I wanted to talk about. I have a few other things I think we'll wait until next week.
Okay.
You have a big show tomorrow.
Yes, I do. The Waterman Show, Waterman's World, actually, on 96K Rock. That's 8 to midnight for all you listeners out there. 8 to midnight, Waterman's World on 96K Rock this Saturday. Don't forget, tune in, listen, give me a call. Hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. You know.
Thanks so much for all you who hung out through the entire 130 minutes of this.
Yeah.
If you have never heard our show, check it out. As it is a podcast, we are recording this. We're on 96krock.com. We're in the 96K Rock smartphone app. Just launch the app, click on the 3 lines up in the top left corner, click on podcast, and find the Waterman and D-Train Show. Or if you're a Stitcher user, just look for the Waterman and D-Train Show on Stitcher. If you're an iPhone user, just pull up iTunes and search for Waterman and D-Train Show.
Yes,
and if you want to do me a personal favor, and if you give any two shits about World War II, while you're searching for the Waterman and D-Train Show, simply type in WTSP. That'll bring up the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast.
Another killer show.
Interestingly enough, this week's episode, I'm interviewing the grandfather of Don Jr., who just took my place at the Stan Haney Show. So not only was he nice enough to learn my job and take it over for me, but he was nice enough to hand deliver a World War II interview
man.
for this week's episode.
Nice. And what's it about again?
What's that?
The show?
What's the Scuttlebutt podcast? My World War II podcast.
Yeah,
all things World War II.
I mean, what's the topic of the show?
This week's, which I uploaded on Wednesday because, as I said in the show, not as in celebration, but as in historical recognition.
Yeah.
It's late, people. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
I went over the list of options that was presented to President Truman when it came time to make the decision of dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Wow.
And I went over briefly the 4 options and the conclusion for each option and why they chose the atom bomb. Now, obviously, with the atom bomb, the radiation, the fallout, there was years and years worth of effect from that. But if you're strictly looking at body count from the explosion, what people don't realize is we dropped napalm on Tokyo before we ever dropped the atom bomb.
Yes, we did. The big firebombing.
That firebombing, the body count was higher than the initial body count of either one of those 2 atom bombs.
Well, you know that all them places were basically just wooden huts and stuff, man.
a lot of bamboo, a lot of paper, but let's not forget, you lived in California. You remember the coastal winds.
Yeah, true.
Well, Japan's an island. You have coastal winds coming in from all 4 directions. So when the bombers dropped the napalm, the fire was so strong that it actually pushed the planes up. So
get out of here.
The areas that weren't affected by fire, people still died from the lack of oxygen. Everything just got sucked up.
Fire, tornadoes.
At the beginning of this week's episode, I go over the dropping of the atom bomb, and then I interview Mr. Lawson, who was he was in the Navy at the time at the end of the war.
Very cool.
And so that was that week's episode. So thanks again for you guys hanging out. If you're new to our show, simply because of this format was easier for you to listen to, we're going to try this again in the future. We got some more cables to buy.
Yep.
But please check out the podcast in itself. You can find everything at d-410.com. That's d-hyphen is a little dash between the 0 and the equal key on your keyboard. d-410.com. It'll have links to the Waterman D-Train Show, the What's the Scuttlebutt podcast, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook pages, and you can find all Dave's information there as well.
Yes.
I'm going to shut up and quit talking now because I'm losing my voice. I'm going to let Dave wrap the show up and take us out. And thanks so much for all you hanging out with us tonight.
Yes, sir. All right, brother. Hey, man, don't forget, once again, tomorrow night, Saturday night, 8 to midnight, it's the Waterman's World Show, so check that out. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to hear from you guys. And I want to thank D-Train for his unconditional love and work and passion for everything he's done for Stan and Haney and myself. I truly appreciate this guy. And you know what? we're committed to keep bringing you guys more and more content. So thanks. Stay tuned. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma, grandpas, your girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever you got. And hey, we'll catch you next week. It's the Waterman D Train Show. We are out of here.
Now, usually I don't step on Dave's closing, but I want to say this real quick because
Yeah,
Rachel
brother.
just popped up on the Facebook live stream and said, D-Train, you need to stay so we can come to terms with you leaving. Stan and Haney had got their time. We need ours too. Rachel, I greatly appreciate that. That means the world to me. The only thing I can offer to you is I will still be on the show on Fridays. I'm going to try to make every Friday, but if I'm not there, it's because I'm out working. But you can always find us every weekend on our podcast. Please download our podcast.
Yes.
If you're an iTunes user, please give us a 5-star rating and review because iTunes will use that as a reason to suggest us to the listeners of other podcasts. And if you're on Stitcher and you find us, once again, the Waterman and D-Train Show, add us to your favorite stations. Or by all means, if you already have it installed on your phone, listen to the 96 K-Rock app. You can download our shows there as well. So it's getting late.
Yeah, buddy. I'm done.
And I'm going to shut up, and your song's over, so we will see you all next week.
See ya.